welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our comic for today is The Crown, A Tale of Hell, Issue 1 by Dark Horse. Now, there are demons in this one, so if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Alright, here's the team. So in this team, we have Todd Mignola, who is Mike Mignola's brother, who up until yesterday I didn't know the existence of. At least I'm pretty sure. I've never heard that he had a brother. Or maybe I didn't. I forgot about it because I'm looking like, oh, Todd Mignola. Does Mike Mignola have a son? No, he has a daughter. But yes, anyway. So this is a new series, or well, not series, it's a two-parter of another tale from the world of Hellboy, written by Mike Mignola, and I think written together with his brother. Because although you can tell Mike Mignola's parts in the writing, there's just something different about it, so I'm guessing that's Todd Mignola's touches in there. And the art is by this gentleman, Warwick Johnson Cadwell. Warwick is a fucking cool name to have. Holy shit. I think with a name like that, he'd be an artist like Frazetta or something, but yeah, well, I'll get to that later. But yeah, as I was saying, this is a new two-parter. So when I saw Mike Mignola was going to be on the writing, I was like, okay, well, let's get this one. As I usually go if it's Mike Mignola or Chris Goldberg or Goldenstein. Yeah, him as well. If I see that he's on writing, I pick it up. So yeah, so this is the new story, and it says The Crown, A Tale from Hell. So we begin the story in that a moment in the old Hellboy comics where Hellboy goes to hell and meets his uncle and his brothers. And when he has that fight with his brothers, and we have a snake narrating the beginning of it. And he says, Hellboy sees that his father is imprisoned in ice. The Hellboy returned to hell, the place of his birth, to observe his father's fate. And Hellboy says, well, I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't want it. And then his uncle tells him, does that make a sacrifice any less? And Hellboy's like, why me? And then his brothers appear and ask, we also don't understand why you, because he had other sons of more noble birth. Because Hellboy's mother was a human, a witch, but still a human. So then the snake tells us, and now we travel back to Castle Azael, that's his father's name, still in its glory, and it's AD 1566. Okay. But yeah, there we go to that time period, and Hellboy's father, I'm just gonna call him that because Azael, I'm sure I'm butchering that. But Hellboy's father is standing in front of a pit and calling his sons to him, and there's like noises, and he's like, "Come on, she's about to come up." And who he's referring to is his son's mother, Sidara, this blue lady here. So she's the mother of Hellboy's brothers, and she's imprisoned in the pit, chained to a rock, and every 100 years she gets to come out and spend a few hours in the castle and change her dress. So he tells her, well, come on, go freshen up. The boys will be happy to see you. Their sons. And it's not told. I mean, it seems to be implied that he imprisoned her, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, she follows a demon servant up the stairs to go freshen up, and she asks him what's new, and he tells her, my lady, well, he is making a new crown, forging a crown. So the whole thing here revolves around Hellboy's father choosing an heir and crowning him. And his mother thinks that Lux, the blue demon here, should be the heir. Sorry, his father thinks he should be the heir, but the mother thinks that the brown demon should be. He's kind of like more brawn than brains, and Lucas is the opposite. So yeah, that's what they're there to discuss, and which they are discussing. So then they go to have dinner. The mother comes in. There's also a daughter that they both share, but she's not there, and they dare not even think of making her the heir. I wonder why, because later on, Sidara says, well, there is someone with the same courage, like Hellboy's brown brother, and someone who has the same wit as Lucas. I think Goman, his name is this one, I think. So they're discussing it. First, the mother asks the boys about the demons, about what have they been up to, and they tell her Goman has been the general of his father's armies, and he led them to this great battle that they lost spectacularly, and he still led them, and Lucas has been down in the crypts listening to the secret that bones tell him. And then at some point, quickly, Hellboy's father gets annoyed at the conversation and tells both of his sons that they are excused, and then he continues to talk to Sidara about who he will crown. A new crown for a new king, as he tells her. And then it's clear that Sidara's father occupied the throne for too long. So it was either the king of hell, and basically Hellboy's father has enough demons standing behind him to, I guess, overthrow Sidara's father and put in a new king. Gamon, that's the brother. He's dim-witted but fearless, and then outside in the hallway somewhere, the brothers are fighting, arguing, I'm going to be the heir, no me, and no, father's going to make me the heir, and Lucas tells him, you're too stupid, Gamon. You don't even know. A father doesn't tell you everything. He tells me everything, but you not, because you're not going to understand. And then Gamon's like, he does too trust me. And then he yells, you're a disgrace, and yet father tells him everything, and then it's like, okay. And Lucas is like, have fun playing with your toy soldiers, and then Gamon goes to his room, and there's a sign, keep out, which, again, I wonder if that's more Todd Minola, because that seems to be a little too comedic for, but then not the kind of comedic Mike Minola usually adds in there. So he goes in, and he does have a lot of, well, not dollies, but like figures. And his mother is in there waiting for him and talking to him about this thing as well. And she thinks that he will be, he should be the heir. That his father will need an army, and he'll need his general. And who will they follow? And Gamon answers, they'll follow me, meaning the demon soldier, and said, yes, you. And then she leaves his room, telling him to be prepared, because it'll happen soon. And then Hellboy's father is standing outside saying, did you have a nice chat? And she's like, you had the same one with Lucas, didn't you? And then basically, this is where he offers her, if we could have both of them, kind of. Not on the throne, but we have Lucas, and then we need someone who's going to could be able to control Gamon, and that's her, basically. And he's offering her, in exchange for her obedience, to be released from the pit. Because, if he didn't trust Gamon, he would have bound him to a rock in the pit as well. So then he's like, come on, and this is where they also say, she's not an option, meaning the sister, I think. And she's like, oh no, can you imagine? And Hellboy's down like a shot or two. And so then they clink glasses for the new king, basically, to, Losk, sorry. And then that's it, Losk is going down to some cry pits, where his uncle's waiting for him and telling him that it's his, and that's it, that he should be worried because everyone will betray him. And he asks his uncle, even you? And he says no. And how Lux is not just his favorite now. He said, I doubt that. Meaning his brother Gamon's not going to take the news lightly. Kindly to the news. And then Gamon's moving his war figures and says, me or Lucas? And then someone says, having fun. And Lucas turns around, and at the window, there's Gamori. And she says, hello, baby brother. Guess who sold you out? And then you see the war figures, and then there's lightning above the castle, and then to be continued. I'm guessing, obviously said baby brother, so that's the sister. Okay. So something must be up with the sister if Hellboy's father doesn't want to trust her at all. And even the mother shatters from it. Okay, so first let's get to the cover. I do like this composition. You see Hellboy's father over here, his mother over there. They're contrasting, red and blue. And there's the crown here above them. And here you have the brothers and the sister over there. And down below that, there's Hellboy, all this basically on his head, even though, as he says, he didn't ask for it. The colors on the cover are good as well. It does take you a second to realize Hellboy's down there as well, as all your focus goes right here to the crown and the parents. Alright, and this is the inside art here. Oh, that's not it. There's Hellboy's father trapped, and there's that scene in the it's in the comics, Hellboy original series. Yeah, this art style is, it's not Miss Truesdale in the Fall of Hyperborea bad, but it's just, okay, it's interesting to look at, but it's just not. I really wish Mike Mignola would draw more of his series again. Because, if he's only going to do, 3-4 issues, or 2 in this case, I wish he would get back to that, because it just doesn't feel the same. I love Mike Mignola's simplistic art style and how he does it, just looks good. And this is just, although the colors are not bad, it's just, okay, I don't know, maybe I'm probably going to sound like a bitch, but it's just, you pay for this. This is the kind of art I would expect to see in some webcomic. Something like that. That, I would read for free. Again, I know there's all sorts of art styles out there, and I'm not knocking on them, but the fact that you pay and this is what you get. Again, I expect someone named Warwick to bedazzle me, And here's this again, it's not terrible. It's not Miss Truesdale in the Fall of Hyperborea. But it's just not, it's just underwhelming, honestly. you see the stories in hell, and you just expect the art style to kind of, match this hellish place and to look. If Mike Mignola drew this, because this cover B with Mike Mignola, because this is a cover by Mr. Johnson Codwell. And you see, and with his art style, it brings more life to it, more atmosphere to the story. Because on the cover you also see Hellboy and also his family, and it's just way better than with this art style. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, granted, maybe Mr. Mignola is quite happy with how this looks. I don't know. It's not like I know him, I can talk to him about it, but if I was the editor or something, I would have said, look, I need a different artist. This is just not it. You can kind of tell because they gave it the cheap paper as well. Let's see, that's flimsy. They gave it the cheap paper. So they didn't have a lot of faith in it, I think. Again, not knocking the artist. There's all sorts of styles. Not everything has to look the same. But it's just, if you're going to pay money, and like at this point, it's like 20 shekels, even more in my case, you expect to see something nice, And this is just, it's just not it. But it's kind of the problem, like, if I don't, like, what, do I start just, if I see this kind of, sorry, siren. If I see this kind of art, do I just not bother? And again, the story could be really good. Because the art can be like, yeah, but as long as the story good, I don't know, it's just, you pay and you get this. Again, it's got details, it's not that. But it's just inside, it's, I've seen prettier, more detailed and cool stuff online for free than in this. But again, maybe I'm just being too much of a bitch. I don't know. It's just I was underwhelmed by the art. Okay, enough art bitching. Let's go to the story. So the story's pretty interesting. I guess kind of a look behind maybe how Hellboy came to be. Why would his demon father decide to have a child with a mortal? For what purpose? And why did he want to make Hellboy his heir? Like, why? When, again, he has two... Like, even if both of his brothers were just not right to be heirs, why just not have a child with another demon? Why seek out a human witch of all women to do that with? What's the story behind it? And why is Sidara imprisoned, if I'm pronouncing that correctly? Why is she imprisoned in the pit? Who imprisoned her? Was it her father? Was it her husband? Did he imprison her? What is up with the sister? Is she so dangerous that neither of her parents would consider her to take place as heir because I guess they're afraid, I don't know, of what she will do when she has that power? And if so, currently at that time, Hellboy's, well, I guess not his grandfather, because that's her father, so Azel, Hellboy's father's father-in-law, is the current king. And again, it says here that Hellboy's father paid a heavy price to have him. And again, if you read the old series, if you get all the omnibuses, you see Hellboy going to the place where he first appeared on Earth, and he has a dream or a vision of that time when his mother was taken by his father, taken back to hell, and you see his father turning around, looking at him, and saying, basically, my beloved son, my favorite son. So it's interesting. Granted, between these two chuckleheads, I guess Hellboy would have been a much better choice. If he hasn't grown up with humans, that is. If he grew up with his father, he probably would have been molded into a fine prince of hell. But as it stands, he grew up with Professor Broom and just became very much human, even though he is... Well, technically, I guess he's kind of half human. I don't know. It's not like a regular birth. His mother always had him inside of her in a way. Because he comes for her when she's an old woman and is about to die. And then he just kind of rips her apart. And Hellboy comes out. Like, not gruesomely, is just kind of done almost with magic. So I don't know what was the plan here. And I guess I'll find out in issue 2, which I do already have, so I'll be able to find out quickly how this wraps up. Which, again, I do wonder how this wraps up, because, again, I'm starting to wonder if Mr. Mignola actually still enjoys doing these, or is he just putting out more so, I don't know, to sell, to have more money? Because in some of these, it doesn't feel like there's enough issues for the kind of story that they're telling. You feel like there should be, more explanations. And there aren't, unfortunately. So I don't know, I don't want to call Mr. Mignola lazy, but again, I don't know. I'm not there in the creative process. It's all I can tell. It just feels like, it could be more than what they're making. Just, again, they couldn't have picked a different artist. Granted, I don't know what artists are being paid right now. I imagine it's not a fuck ton. So I guess if you're being paid not much, I guess you're not gonna put in much effort, are you? Especially when the pay isn't gonna, really really compensate you for your time and effort. But still, it's like, you buy and you're like, But hey, at least I got the comic, because in my case, I can't really be picky here. If I get the story, at least I get the story, because trying to get variants is, well, I wouldn't really much bother with that, honestly. But yeah, it's not like you go and you have cover A or cover B, or you can easily order it. But yeah, that's it, so we'll see how it concludes in issue 2. I'm assuming we're going to get back to Hellboy and his uncle and all that. But I wonder what they're going to tell us here, and if later it's going to go as it did in the old comic spoilers, where Hellboy essentially he defeats his brothers, I think. But then later on they do die. I can't recall who kills them. Maybe Hellboy kills one of them. I don't remember anymore. But yeah, I guess it's left to be seen. Overall, it's still intriguing. Again, the art underwhelmed me. It's not that it's horrendous, but it's just, Again, I wouldn't have, Unless there's some kind of new franchise, let's say, and I thought the concept was like, it sounds like an interesting idea, whatever the story would have been. But I would see this as the art. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna leave that, because it's a lot of money, and this is yet again in return for it. Yeah, not that I'm just a great artist. I wouldn't put me on drawing comic art, and I wouldn't expect people to pay for what I would draw. But yeah, still, well, we'll see how the story concludes. I hope it'll at least have an interesting conclusion. But that is left to be seen. Alright, folks, so let me know what you thought of The Crown, The Tale of Hell, if you've read it. Let me know down below in the comments, and that's it. Remember, collect what you're passionate about, share it on YouTube. Bye!